Well, look who finally decided to wake the hell up. Not them. You. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The outlier, the freak, the one who didn't shut up, sit down, and nod along like the rest of these zombified drones dragging their feet through life like it's some damn rehearsal. You didn't just see the system, you dissected it, cracked it open with your bare fucking hands. While everyone else was still hypnotized by pixels, trends, and recycled bullshit, you unlocked something deep, ugly, real. And now they stare at you like, what the fuck did you figure out that we didn't? Oh, if only they knew. They don't understand it took pain, not Instagram heartbreak bullshit. I'm talking soul-level devastation. You were drowning in silence, choked by your own thoughts, while the world told you, smile more. They fed you self-help candy while you were bleeding internally, and you smiled anyway, until you didn't. Because one day, snap, something in you shattered, but instead of breaking down, you broke through. You stopped playing their game, stopped chasing approval from people who'd forget your name if you died tomorrow. Stop trying to explain your chaos to those who never even questioned their programming. You saw it, didn't you? The glitch, the lies, the rules that only apply to the weak-minded. You felt it crawling under your skin, that sick realization that this whole world is a well-dressed coffin, that everything they sell you is a leash. And what did you do? You ripped it off. You stared into the mirror and didn't look away. You faced the monster, you, and made peace with it. No masks, no filters, no softening the edges. You let the darkness in. Hell, you used it. Because you realized something they never will. Greater than light without shadow is meaningless. And now you move different. You speak different. You don't flinch when people leave. You don't panic when the plan fails. You don't fold under pressure. You thrive in it. Because you finally get it. There is no next level. You are the glitch. You are the anomaly. You are the virus they can't predict, the equation they can't solve, the variable they forgot to account for. And it scares them. They call you arrogant now. Nah, you're just not begging anymore. They say you're heartless. Nah, you just stopped throwing lifelines to people who watched you drown. They say you changed. Good. That was the whole point. They'll never understand what you unlocked, not because you're smarter, but because they were never willing to lose everything to find themselves. You were. You let it all burn. The fake friendships, the performative kindness, the numbing distractions, the watered-down version of you they could tolerate. You set fire to every bridge that led you back to smallness. And now, you walk alone. Not because no one wants you, but because you don't need their half-assed, half-awake, half-alive energy anymore. You're surgical now, selective, unapologetic. You don't talk to be heard. You speak to shake foundations. You don't chase love. You attract gravity. You move in silence because you learned. Real ones don't announce. They just arrive. They still don't get it. They think success is followers, likes, and brand deals. You measure power by how unfuckwithable your mind is, by how calm you stay in chaos, by how quick you cut off energy that drains you. Even if it comes dressed as family, friends, or lovers, you unlocked the truth. And it wasn't pretty. It was brutal. It was lonely. It was a goddamn war, but you made it. Scarred, not soft. Wiser, not weaker. You walk into every room like you own the floor, because in your head, you do. And they whisper, what the fuck did they unlock? And you smirk, because the answer ain't in words. It's in your energy, in your eyes, in your silence. They'll never see it. They'll never feel it, because they never did the work. They never broke. They never bled. They never died to be reborn. But you did. You're the quiet storm, the controlled demolition, the last breath before the blackout. They keep watching you like you're some kind of glitch in the algorithm, eyes filled with that mix of curiosity and fear, because deep down, they know something's off. Not with you, with them. You're not playing by the script anymore. You tore it up, spit on it, lit it on fire, and wrote your own rules in blood and sweat. While they're stuck in a loop, sleep, scroll, compare, complain. You're building in silence, mastering in the dark, stacking scars like trophies, every L they thought would destroy you. You turned that shit into fuel. They can't track you. They can't label you. They can't box you in without you laughing in their face. Because when they zig, you disappear. When they zag, you reappear somewhere they'd never expect. Leveled up again, like you downloaded an update they didn't even know existed. They talk about balance. You live in extremes. You had to. When the world beat the softness out of you, you didn't go looking for comfort. You went searching for the edge, and you jumped. No parachute, no backup plan, just raw fucking will. You turned your back on fake safety nets and learned how to fly with broken wings. Not because it was poetic, because it was do or die. They want to know what you unlocked. You unlocked the power of not giving a single fuck about how you're perceived. You stopped performing. You stopped diluting. You stopped asking the world to understand a mind that wasn't wired to be manageable. You don't beg for clarity anymore. You embrace the chaos. Because you realized that chaos wasn't the enemy. It was home. And that's why they'll never catch up. They're still trying to be liked. You're too busy becoming unshakable. They're chasing aesthetics. You're chasing dominance. Not over others, over yourself. Your impulses, your fears, your triggers. You tamed them. No applause, no parade. Just dark rooms, long nights, and the sound of your own mind screaming at you to quit. But you didn't. You took all that pain, the betrayal, the doubt, the failure, the isolation, and turned it into leverage. You weaponized your rock bottom. You made peace with being misunderstood. You got addicted to silence, obsessed with growth, high off discipline, and now you're untouchable. Because they can't shame you with anything you already exposed yourself to. They can't break you with opinions you no longer fucking respect. They can't move you with crumbs when you learned how to feed yourself with nothing. You felt hunger on a level they'll never experience. Not just in your stomach, in your soul. The kind of hunger that makes you willing to lose sleep, love, comfort, even your name, just to get to the version of you that actually feels alive. That version, that's the threat. That's the version that don't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't need. That's why they look at you sideways, why they project their fears onto your grind, why they call you too much now. Because your very existence pressures them to evolve. And most of them ain't built for that kind of smoke. You make people uncomfortable simply by being who you are. Not loud, not obnoxious, just clear, grounded, brutal with your energy, sharp with your time, ruthless with your standards. You're not chasing success. You embody it. You walk like the storm is inside you, because it is. And every step you take now, it hits like a fucking earthquake in their world. Because they built on sand. You built on scars. They don't realize the kind of demons you had to dance with to walk the way you walk. They see confidence. You remember the nights you were clawing at your own mind, begging it to shut the fuck up for 5 minutes. They see discipline. You remember the days you didn't even want to move, didn't want to exist, didn't want to fake another smile just to keep people comfortable. But you kept showing up, battered, bruised, not out of motivation. That shit died a long time ago. Out of rage, out of refusal, out of that primal, fuck this, I'm not going out like that energy that comes when you finally get tired of your own excuses. You got dangerous when you stopped looking for rescue. You stopped hoping someone would come save you, validate you, see you. You learned how to build your own ladder in hell, and every step up cost you another version of yourself. The soft one, the naive one, the one that kept waiting for life to feel fair. Dead weight. You shed it all, burned it in silence. Not for revenge, not for applause, just because you were done being the watered-down version of a beast that was born to devour limitations. They don't know what you unlocked because they never had to rewire their entire identity brick by brick. They never had to kill their old self in cold blood to become someone who couldn't be broken again. They think power comes from image. You learned real power is in silence, in the way you don't explain yourself anymore, in the way you look a situation dead in the face and don't blink, in the way you know people are lying to your face and you let them, because you already cut the cord in your mind. You don't argue, you decide, you don't chase closure. You leave doors wide open and never look back. You don't beg to be understood. You speak in action and disappear if they can't keep up. And it fucks with them because they're still stuck in emotional debt, owing people time, energy, reactions. And you went bankrupt. Then you rebuilt from zero. And this version of you doesn't owe a goddamn thing. You walk different now. Not because you're trying to intimidate, but because you're not carrying guilt anymore. You're not dragging around the weight of trying to be enough for people who were never even qualified to judge you. You saw what happens when you give too much, when you shrink to fit rooms that were never built for someone like you, when you bleed for people who wouldn't offer you a drop if you were on fire. You saw it, you felt it, and it changed you, not in a poetic, I've grown type of way, in a cold, surgical way. You adjusted, you recalculated, you turned into something they can't recognize anymore. And they hate that, because your growth exposes their stagnation, your focus exposes their distractions, your self-respect exposes their people-pleasing. You're not trying to be relatable anymore. You're not trying to be one of them. You're busy becoming the version of you that would have scared the old you to death. The version that don't flinch when everything falls apart, because you expect it to. You don't panic in storms. You are the storm. You got used to the silence people leave behind when your standards start suffocating their comfort zones. They call it distance. You call it clarity. You started realizing how loud people were when you didn't even ask for the noise. Performers, parasites, pretenders. They weren't in your life to grow with you. They were just trying to keep you at a level where your light didn't blind them. You started saying no without explaining. Started canceling plans that drained your spirit. Started disappearing from circles that only clapped when you were quiet, small, agreeable. You stopped being the nice version of yourself that swallowed every red flag just to avoid making waves. That version of you died the moment you realized you were bleeding out for people who wouldn't even hand you a damn napkin. They liked you better when you were unsure. When you asked for permission, when you watered down your truth to keep the peace. But the minute you started moving like you actually knew who the fuck you were, that's when the masks fell. That's when their real faces showed. That's when the shade came, not because you changed, but because you stopped needing them. You outgrew them in silence, no announcement, no explosion, just outgrew. Like poison leaving your system, like fog finally clearing. And in that quiet, brutal transformation, you saw everything. You saw how much of your past was built on guilt. How many of your choices were made from fear, not power. How many people you kept around just because you didn't want to face the loneliness of becoming untouchable. But you faced it. You sat in that silence until it stopped scaring you. You sat in that loneliness until it became luxury. And when it was time to come back, you didn't come back soft. You came back dangerous. Different kind of energy, didn't talk the same, didn't respond the same, didn't entertain small talk, fake love, half-truths. You weren't bitter, you were clear. Because once you've seen what's behind the curtain, you stop pretending the show is magic. Once you've tasted your own power, begging becomes offensive. Once you've reclaimed your time, you become militant about protecting it. You walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere, not because you're trying, but because your energy screams, I don't need anything from you. And that rattles people, because most of them only feel valuable when someone needs them. You don't need, you choose. You choose who gets access. You choose what gets your focus. You choose what version of you the world gets to meet. You unlocked that level of control, not over them, but over yourself. And that's the scariest kind of power, to the ones still ruled by their wounds, the ones who've never met themselves in silence, the ones still running from the mirror. You're not running anymore. You're hunting, not people, not money, your own potential. You're chasing the you that no one's ever seen, not even you. The one that doesn't flinch, the one that doesn't chase love, beg for loyalty, or negotiate with mediocrity, the one that breathes fire, walks alone, and only speaks when silence won't hit hard enough. You don't speak on everything anymore, not because you're holding back, but because you realized most people ain't even qualified to hear you. They're not ready for that level of honesty, not ready for a mind that's not addicted to validation, not ready for someone who won't sugarcoat the truth just to be liked. You stopped translating your depth into bite-sized bullshit for shallow people. You stopped folding your edges just to fit into their soft little comfort zones. You walk in truth that burns. And if they can't handle the heat, that's not your fucking problem. You used to crave connection. Now you crave alignment. Not just company, not just someone to text. You're looking people dead in the soul and asking silently, can you meet me where I really live? And most of them can't. Because you don't live in small talk. You don't live in surface level flexing. You live in the fire. You live in discomfort, in the grind, in the nights nobody sees, in the spaces between wins where the doubt creeps in. But you keep going anyway. You live in the dark, not because you're lost, but because that's where real ones are forged. They want the glow up. You went through the meltdown. They want the wins. You survived the wars. And that's the part they never talk about. The blood, the silence, the inner chaos it took to become this calm on the outside. You don't have time for the old shit anymore. Fake loyalty, unspoken resentment, energy vampires who only call when their world's on fire. You got surgical. You cut access. You stopped giving unearned loyalty to people who wouldn't even show up for you in a crisis without asking what's in it for them. You made peace with being misunderstood, because you realized being misunderstood means you're no longer digestible to the mediocre. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer easy to place. You became a threat when you stopped broadcasting your every move. When you stopped clapping for everyone else just to distract from the fact that your own silence was building something lethal. You got strategic with your time, your focus, your words. You realized every yes to something misaligned was a fuck you to your higher self. And that version of you, the one who knows they're built for more, finally started taking the wheel. You don't fear failure anymore, because you failed loud, you failed ugly, you failed publicly. And guess what? You lived, you learned, you turned every scar into a compass and every rock bottom into a launch pad. You made peace with being the villain in someone else's story, if it meant being the hero in your own. You don't apologize for the boundaries anymore, for the silence, for the focus, because you know what it costs to lose yourself again just to be palatable. You remember the version of you that bent until it broke, that lowered the volume of its truth just to keep people comfortable, that said, it's okay when it wasn't, that kept showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. You buried that version. And what came out of that grave? Cold, clear, unapologetic. The real you, unfiltered, untamed, unavailable to anything that dims your light or questions your worth. And it's wild how peace changed you more than pain ever did. Not the soft, pretty peace people post for aesthetics. That real earned peace that only shows up after you've ripped out every weak part of yourself and buried it with your bare fucking hands. The peace that feels like armor, not comfort. The peace that feels like awareness, not numbness. The peace that comes when nothing external holds power over you anymore. You don't react off impulse like you used to. You study people. You watch patterns. You read silence like it's a language only survivors know. You don't chase validation. You clock behavior. You don't chase love. You evaluate consistency. You don't chase opportunities. You attract them by moving in a way that makes the universe say, yeah, they're ready. You turned your life into something sacred, not for the world to clap at, but for your soul to recognize. You stopped thirsting for attention and started demanding respect without ever raising your voice. You learned the art of walking away when the energy gets shaky, when the words don't match the actions, when presence feels like a threat instead of a blessing. You don't need to expose people anymore. You let them reveal themselves by underestimating you. You let them mistake your silence for softness, your calm for weakness, your distance for emptiness. And then you watch their confusion when they realize you were measuring them, not missing them. Every version of you they built stories about, dead, buried, replaced with someone who knows exactly who the fuck they are without anybody confirming it. You started respecting your own time like it's gold, instead of treating it like a donation. You stopped keeping spaces open for people who treat you like an option. You stopped giving unlimited access to people who only knew how to withdraw from you and never deposit anything back into your spirit. You don't move with desperation anymore. You move with certainty, that quiet, terrifying kind of certainty that makes people back up a little when you walk in. Not because you're aggressive, but because your presence reminds them of what they could be if they actually committed to their evolution instead of flirting with it. You learn to stand alone without collapsing. You learn to build without applause. You learn to heal without witnesses. And that solitude didn't break you. It weaponized you. You're not proving shit anymore. You're living it. Every step, Every choice, every standard speaks louder than words ever could. You've outgrown the version of yourself that needed to explain why you left, why you leveled up, why you outgrew certain circles and conversations. You don't argue with the past. You don't entertain the old you like a rerun. You don't revisit the rooms where your soul suffocated. You walked out. Not because you were angry, but because you refused to shrink again. You refused to dim again. You refused to betray yourself again just to be digestible. There's a different look in your eyes now. Not bitterness, not ego. Certainty. The kind of certainty that comes from breaking in private and rebuilding in silence. And every time someone tries to figure out what changed in you, why you feel like a threat by just existing, why your presence feels heavier, deeper, more grounded than before. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Don't look around. I'm talking to the one who's been feeling that weird tension lately. That heavy silence when you walk into the room. That fake smile that doesn't reach anyone's eyes anymore. You've felt it, haven't you? The shift. The way their tone changes when they realize you're close enough to hear. You probably brushed it off 100 times, tried to tell yourself you were just overthinking. But no, your gut wasn't lying. Something's been going on, something small, quiet, ugly. See, there's a conversation happening behind your back that you were never supposed to hear. They've been building something out of you, a version of you, a joke, a label, a name. But not your name, not the one you were born with. This one's different. This one was designed to strip you down. And the crazy part, they don't even think they're doing anything wrong. That's the beauty of it, the casual cruelty of it. They'll smile at you, ask how your day was, pretend like everything's normal. But the moment you're gone, they turn your name into a Fing souvenir, something they can play with, something they can pass around. You've probably felt that cold weight in your chest when you sense people talking. But nobody will say what it is. That's not paranoia. That's intuition. That's your instincts screaming the truth through all the noise. They've decided who you are without even knowing you. And that decision, it travels. It spreads, one whisper at a time. A chain reaction of cowardice. They don't even need to lie. They just twist reality until it sounds entertaining. But here's what they don't realize. While they're busy playing judge, you've been watching quietly. You've seen the way they move, the ones who smile too hard, laugh too quickly, look away too fast. You've learned the rhythm of fake people. You can spot it now. That half-second pause before the lie, that nervous grin before the betrayal. You've become fluent in human masks, and that's dangerous. Because once you see the game, you can't unsee it. Once you know the truth, every word tastes different. Every compliment feels suspicious. Every handshake feels like a setup. But you know what's even more dangerous? When you stop giving a damn about what they say. When you stop needing their validation. When their whispers turn into background noise. And you start building your silence into something they can't ignore. You've been underestimated for so long that you forgot how terrifying you can be when you stop playing nice. You think they called you something harmless? No. They called you something they fear. Because people don't invent stories about nobodies. They only talk about the ones who disturb their peace. They need you small. They need you predictable. But deep down, they know. Once you realize your own strength, you'll outgrow their entire world. And that's exactly what's happening, isn't it? You're evolving, quietly, patiently. You've been gathering all those laughs, all those dismissive glances, all that fake pity, and turning it into ammunition. They think you're weak because you didn't confront them. But the truth is, you've been calculating, waiting. You know better than to waste your power proving yourself to people who already decided who you are. You're not here to explain anymore. You're here to show. Every time they talk, they reveal a little more about themselves. Every word exposes their insecurity, their jealousy, their desperate need to tear down what they can't become. And you just keep collecting data, every smirk, every side comment, every tone shift. It's all getting stored somewhere in your head. They think they're writing your story, but you're writing theirs. So yeah, they've got a name for you, a private one, a whispered one, the kind they only say when they're sure you can't hear. Once you hear it, something inside you changes forever. That name, it'll burn, it'll hurt, it'll make you question who you've been trying to be all this time, but it'll also light a fuse, the kind of fuse that turns quiet souls into wildfires. And trust me, when the truth finally reaches you, when you hear what they've been calling you, you'll never see yourself the same way again, and neither will they. You start noticing it everywhere, don't you? The half smirk when you walk in, the quick phone glance when you speak, the fake "oh yeah, totally" when you share something that actually mattered to you. It's like the whole world's suddenly tuned to a frequency you can hear, but they think you can't. You stand there, pretending it doesn't get to you, nodding like you don't notice the undertone. But you do. You always did. It's in their tone, the energy, the way they try to sound casual, but their voice drops when it's your name. They think they're slick. They think you're clueless. But deep down, you've been feeling that offbeat rhythm in their words for months. The fake kindness that tastes bitter. The kind of laughter that doesn't match the joke. You walk home with that weight sitting on your chest like a damn anvil. You replay conversations, analyzing every syllable, wondering what it is they're not saying. It's exhausting, being the one who feels too much, notices too much, remembers too much. You start doubting yourself, telling yourself you're just being dramatic, paranoid, insecure. But then another moment happens, tiny, almost invisible, and it confirms everything again. The way they exchange that look when you walk past, the quick hush, that subtle switch up from laughter to silence. You're standing in a world full of masks, and you can feel every one of them staring back at you. You keep wondering what changed, what you did. Maybe you stopped being the version of yourself that was convenient for them. Maybe you started setting boundaries. Maybe you finally started saying, "Nah, that's not funny," or "I'm not okay with that." And that's when they turned. Because people who benefit from your silence will always label your voice as disrespect. You became difficult. You became too much. You became the one they whisper about instead of the one they control. And that's when it started. The quiet rebranding of your name. They don't even see it as cruelty. They call it jokes, banter, just teasing. But underneath all of it, there's envy, resentment, fear. You represent the part of themselves they buried years ago. The part that wanted to stand out, fight back, speak truth, not fold just to be liked. You're the version of them that didn't give up yet. That's why you're a problem. You remind them that they settled, that they chose easy over real, that you kept walking through pain they couldn't survive for 5 minutes. It's wild, isn't it? How people will twist your name just to make themselves feel safe around you. They have to define you before you can define yourself. They have to cut you down before you grow taller than their comfort zone. And you've been feeling it, all of it, collecting it in silence like invisible bruises. Every night you stare at the ceiling thinking about how people can be so fake. You scroll through your phone, see their posts, their smiles, their positivity, and your chest tightens because you know how different the energy feels behind those screens. You know who's laughing in the group chat, who's saying what when you're not there. You can almost hear it, the tone, the rhythm, the laughter that doesn't sound right. You're not angry because they talk, you're angry because they pretend they don't. You're angry because they think your intuition's a joke. They think you don't see the cracks in their smiles, the hesitation in their voices, the way they suddenly care too much about explaining themselves when nobody asked. It's strange how quiet betrayal sounds. No explosion, no confrontation, just that slow, creeping distance, that invisible wall that wasn't there before. You're in the same room, but it feels like you're miles away. You laugh with them, but the sound doesn't hit the same. You feel disconnected, almost ghost-like, as if you're watching your own life from a distance. And in that space, between what they say and what they mean, you start changing. Something dark starts forming, not evil, just different, focused, detached. You start realizing you don't owe anyone your softness anymore. You start understanding that sometimes silence is power, not weakness. You stop oversharing. You stop explaining your every move. You stop waiting for validation that never comes. You start walking through rooms like you already know everything they're too scared to admit. You become dangerous, not because you fight back, but because you no longer react. The whispers get louder, but you stop hearing them the same way. They sound smaller now, thinner, almost pathetic. Because deep down, they know the same thing you're starting to realize, that whatever name they gave you, whatever story they built around you, it's not gonna last. The truth always crawls out, eventually. Lies age fast, and masks get heavy. And when it finally slips, when the truth about what they've been calling you finally surfaces, there won't be any laughter left in their throats. Just the sound of regret echoing where their jokes used to be. It starts creeping into your thoughts at random hours, that itch that won't go away, the question you can't unhear anymore. What the hell are they calling you? You don't even need to ask. You can feel it pulsing in the silence. That name, whatever it is, floats somewhere between their smiles and your doubt. You catch fragments, half sentences, low laughter, words that don't sound like compliments. You've seen that glance, that flash of guilt, when someone accidentally almost says it out loud. You keep pretending it doesn't bother you, but deep down, you're curious, almost obsessed. It's not just about the name anymore. It's what it means. The idea that people you trusted have a language for you that you were never invited into. It messes with your head, doesn't it? Because it's not just gossip, it's identity theft. They took your name and carved it into something else. Something easier to mock, easier to dismiss. They needed to turn you into a character, because facing the real you is too uncomfortable. That's the trick. They don't just call you a name, they rewrite your existence with it. They turn your silence into arrogance, your focus into coldness, your ambition into obsession. They name the parts of you they can't understand, and then pretend those names are the truth. Every time they say it, they reinforce the story until even you start to question which version of yourself is real. You think back to that time someone slipped and said something weird, but covered it with a laugh. Or the moment a friend said, "Oh, they didn't mean it like that." But you heard it. You felt the energy shift, that slight emphasis, that pause after your name. You remember how your stomach dropped for no reason, How your brain tried to rationalize it away, but your soul already knew. That wasn't an accident. That was a preview. It eats at you, doesn't it? The mystery of it. Because it's not just a word, it's a message. It's everything they think about you when you're not there, condensed into one sound. A secret code that says, we know who you are, and we don't respect it. It's their way of controlling the narrative, of reminding themselves that you don't belong to their version of normal. But the deeper you think about it, the clearer it becomes. It's never been about what the name actually is. It's about the fact that it exists. The disrespect isn't in the word. It's in the decision to create it. They made a nickname out of your existence because they couldn't understand it. They needed to simplify you, shrink you, fit you into something easy to say out loud. Because you're too layered, too unpredictable, too damn real. You start replaying every time they said your real name with that slight twist, that mocking tone, that hidden grin. Every syllable starts sounding fake. You start noticing the patterns, how certain people always look at each other when your name comes up, how the laughter dies down when you enter the room. It's psychological warfare disguised as humor. And the worst part, some of them still act like they love you. They'll hug you, text you, send you memes, talk about loyalty and vibes, while still carrying that secret word in their pocket like a blade. They keep it hidden, waiting for the right moment to use it. Because that's what people do when they can't compete with authenticity. They weaponize familiarity. You think about confronting them, but something in you holds back. Because what if you do, and they lie again? What if they all play dumb and you end up feeling crazy for noticing? That's how gaslighting works. You start doubting your own perception just to keep the peace. And that's exactly how they want it. But that pressure building in your chest, that quiet fury, that isn't weakness, it's awareness. It's you starting to understand the cost of pretending not to see. It's the moment before everything shifts. Because there's a limit to how many fake smiles a person can take before they start smiling back for different reasons. You can almost hear it now. The word, the sound of it, the laughter underneath it. It's close. It's right there, hidden in plain sight. You're standing on the edge of knowing, and part of you already feels it. The second you hear that name, something inside you is never going to be the same again. It starts haunting your mind in the quiet moments. When you're brushing your teeth, scrolling through your phone, sitting alone, staring at nothing. That same thought keeps looping. What do they call me when I'm not around? It's like a ghost living in your head rent-free. You try to shake it off, distract yourself, drown it out with music or work or meaningless conversations, but it keeps finding a way back in. That itch behind your ribs, that invisible static buzzing under your skin. You start realizing it's not just one or two people. It's a pattern. You can see it in how certain groups pause when you show up. That split second of recalibration, where they adjust their tone, soften their expressions, switch the topic. You catch it in their eyes. That flicker of guilt that vanishes too quick to prove, but too real to ignore. It's that kind of betrayal that doesn't even need words. You can feel it, and it messes with you, doesn't it? Because you were loyal, you defended them when other people talked. You shared things you didn't tell anyone else. You let them close enough to know your flaws, your weak spots, your insecurities. And that's exactly what they used. They built that secret name from your vulnerability, from your honesty, from the pieces of you that were never supposed to be mocked. That name isn't just a word. It's a distorted version of your reflection, twisted, exaggerated, stripped of everything that makes you human. It's not even about you anymore. It's about them, about their need to feel bigger, louder, stronger than you. About their fear of your silence, your stillness, your strength. You became their punchline because you made them uncomfortable just by existing without apology. You start to notice how often people disguise cruelty as humor, how they test the waters with jokes, waiting to see if you'll laugh along or flinch. You notice how quickly laughter becomes armor, how people use it to hide their insecurity, their jealousy, their guilt. They make it seem harmless, but you can hear the venom underneath. You can hear the tone shift, that subtle mockery that cuts deeper because it's wrapped in a smile. You keep telling yourself it doesn't matter, that you're above it, that you've got better things to focus on. But deep down, you feel that sting every time their words echo in your memory. Every time your brain replays that scene with new clarity. That moment you missed before, that smirk you ignored, that joke you didn't catch in time. The puzzle pieces start connecting, and suddenly everything makes too much sense. The name. It's not just about disrespect. It's about control. It's about people trying to decide who you get to be. They rewrite your story in rooms you'll never walk into, and then they hand that version of you to the world. And the worst part? Everyone believes them before they believe you, because lies travel faster when they're entertaining. There's something sick about how people enjoy it, too. The way they bond over your name like it's a secret handshake. The way it gives them a sense of unity, like tearing you down together makes them feel connected. They're not just naming you, they're building a club out of your absence. You became their favorite topic because it's easier than looking in the mirror. And yet, you don't react. You don't confront. You just observe. You let them talk. You let them believe you're unaware, because a part of you knows. Once you hear that name for real, once the truth hits your ears, there's no going back. Something in you will snap, quietly, permanently. You'll never hear their voices the same way again. You'll never walk into a room and feel safe again. Every hey will sound like a lie. Every laugh will feel like a trap. It's strange how betrayal doesn't happen all at once. It drips, slowly. One word, one whisper, one fake smile at a time. And you keep collecting them, pretending it's fine, pretending it doesn't matter. But deep down, you know it's building toward something sharp, something real, something that's going to change how you move, how you speak, how you breathe. The name is coming. It's closer than ever. You can feel it hovering around you like smoke before the fire. It starts to follow you, even when nobody's around. You're walking down the street, headphones in, pretending you're fine. But your mind keeps drifting back to that unseen word that's hanging over you, like a shadow. You start hearing echoes that aren't even there. Snippets of laughter that sound too familiar, too specific. Your brain replays old conversations on a loop, analyzing every pause, every smirk, every fake nah, nothing that you brushed off at the time. It's like you're haunted by something you've never actually heard. You catch yourself zoning out in the middle of work, wondering if they're saying it right now, somewhere across the room, across the group chat, across the city. You feel it, that slight vibration in your chest, like your name's being dragged through the dirt by people who used to hold it gently. You remember how it used to feel when someone said your name with warmth, with respect. And now, even hearing it sounds suspicious. You can't tell anymore if they're calling you or the version of you they invented. You start tracing patterns. Who talks to who suddenly got quiet, who stopped meeting your eyes. You start recognizing the little alliances that form when people share something forbidden. You can almost see the network of whispers threading through the air. They built something behind your back, something invisible but solid enough to cage your reputation. You can feel the bars every time you open your mouth, and someone looks at you a second too long, waiting to see if the rumor fits. It's wild how a single word can hold that much power. One nickname, one label, one piece of casual cruelty that spreads like smoke. You never get to choose it. They choose it for you. They craft it behind closed doors and release it like a virus. It infects everything. How people talk to you, how they see you, how they decide what kind of person you are before you even open your mouth. You're fighting a battle you didn't even know started. And yeah, maybe part of you wishes you could just ask them, just walk up and demand the truth. But you already know what would happen. They'd laugh, deflect, act offended, twist it until you're the one who looks paranoid. Ah, look at you. You beautiful, twisted, unapologetic storm of chaos. You didn't just come back. You burned the fucking blueprint. They don't even recognize you now, and that's the point, isn't it? Let me ask you something. Who do you think you are now? Because this version of you, this isn't the person who begged to be seen. This isn't the one who shrank, who made themselves smaller to fit into boxes built by cowards. No, no, no. You're the monster they accidentally made while laughing behind your back. The weapon they forged out of every betrayal, every silence, every time you sat alone in a room and screamed without sound. You were the afterthought, the background noise, the broken, stuttering punchline of their jokes. But look at you now. You're the punchline that punches back. And this right here, this ain't revenge. This is full-blown supremacy. You didn't just bounce back. You reinvented gravity. Now they orbit around your presence like moths to a flame they once tried to snuff out. Remember how they told you to calm down, to be grateful, to stop making everything about you? You were too loud for them, too much, too sensitive, too intense, too complicated, too angry. But what they couldn't handle was the raw, untamed hurricane of truth that lived under your skin. And now that truth's got teeth. It's got claws. It walks into every room with its chest out and its middle finger raised to the sky. See, people don't like it when the quiet one starts speaking in flames, when the nice one gets cold, when the humble one stops bowing and starts building empires. Because you didn't just glow up, you blazed up. You forged yourself out of glass shards and sleepless nights. Every time you hit rock bottom, you dug deeper and found gold. And they thought you were broken? You were just mining. Let's get real for a second. This isn't some fairy tale comeback. This isn't the hero's journey. You're not some polished, media-trained redemption story. You're the villain in their bedtime prayers. You're what happens when pain doesn't just teach, it transforms. Now your silence is terrifying. Your presence, suffocating. Your name, a whispered warning in rooms you've never stepped foot in. They watch from the sidelines now, fumbling excuses, trying to rewrite the past like they weren't the architects of your suffering, but deep down, they know. They created you, and they'll never be able to destroy what they built. Let them talk, let them whisper, let them gossip and wonder and panic and spiral. Because you're busy collecting thrones. You're walking into every space like you own oxygen itself. This isn't just a power move. It's a regime change. You don't owe them kindness. You don't owe them softness. You don't owe a single damn thing to the people who stood by while you bled out, while you begged the universe to make the pain make sense. Now you are the meaning. You're the answer. You're the aftermath, the storm they can't predict, the rule breaker, the standard. So let them wonder, who the hell do they think they are now? Let me answer that for you. You're the product of every door slammed in your face. You're the sum of every "you'll never be enough." You're the final form they prayed you'd never reach. You're the living, breathing nightmare of every person who underestimated your silence. And you don't chase validation anymore. You're not out here trying to prove a shatti. You are the proof that survival isn't pretty, it's brutal. That healing doesn't look like yoga and sunsets. It looks like screaming into pillows and rebuilding your soul from ashes. You took your broken pieces and made them sharp. Now you cut through every lie, every fake smile, every "I've changed." And the best part? You don't even need applause. You don't want a standing ovation. You are the show. You're the main event, the finale, the reason they double-check who's watching. So again, who do you think you are now? I'll tell you exactly who. You're the pain. You're the power. You're the threat. You're the prophecy they tried to erase. And now, you're here to collect. No forgiveness, no warnings, no compromise, just undeniable, unstoppable, untouchable supremacy. They stare, confused, like maybe it's a phase, like maybe you'll calm down, like maybe the old version of you is still somewhere underneath, waiting to be talked down, waiting to fold. But what they don't get is that you don't unfold anymore. You detonate. You stopped asking for seats at tables you were meant to burn. You're not networking. You're erasing the hierarchy. You don't walk into rooms trying to belong. You walk in like the room is lucky to have you. That fear in their eyes, that unease in their voice, that's not confusion, that's recognition. They see it now. The fire in your eyes isn't for warmth, it's a warning. You've outgrown the leash. You've outgrown the guilt. You've outgrown every label, every insult, every half-assed apology drenched in manipulation. You're not who they remember, and that's what terrifies them most. Because if you're not broken anymore, then they're out of excuses. No more gaslighting. No more, "You're too emotional." No more, "It's not that deep." It was that deep. It buried you, and you clawed your way up with blood in your mouth and purpose in your bones. They wanted you nice. They wanted you silent. They wanted you agreeable, obedient, easy to dismiss. What they got is someone who doesn't even blink while burning bridges, because you finally figured it out. Some bridges deserve to burn. Some people only survive off the access they have to your softness. And when you cut them off, they crumble, because they were never strong without you. They just got used to feeding off your silence. You're not sorry anymore. Not for surviving, not for thriving, not for being hard to swallow. You're supposed to be. You're not meant to go down easy. You're meant to sit in their throat like truth does. Uncomfortable, undeniable, unforgettable. The world tried to convince you that being too much was a curse, that your passion was a flaw, that your depth made you crazy. Turns out they just didn't have the range to handle you. They wanted shallow waters, and you were the Mariana Trench. You carry your own chaos now, not as baggage, but as armor. Every scar is part of the crown. Every dark night is part of the ceremony. This isn't about clapping back. This is about rewriting the rules in your handwriting, with ink made from every tear you weren't allowed to cry. You don't flinch anymore. You don't pause to explain. You don't ask for validation from people who couldn't survive a single day of what you endured. They said you were too intense. That's because you're not a vibe. You're a reckoning. You used to pray for strength. Now you are the strength. They used to say, stay humble. But what they meant was, stay small, stay manageable, stay scared. And that version of you, dead and buried. This one speaks with lightning in their throat and moves like time owes them interest. You don't knock anymore. You kick the door off its hinges, walk in slow, and dare anyone to tell you to leave. No code switching, no emotional filter, no more shrinking into polite versions of yourself just to make cowards feel tall. You're not healing quietly anymore. You're raising hell with elegance. You're not the warning label. You're the chemical, and every single soul who doubted you. They don't get to be part of this chapter. This chapter's written in all caps, in your real voice. No edits, no apologies, no goddamn compromises. You're not asking, who am I, anymore. You're stating it. You're not hoping they'll see your worth. You're watching them regret, underestimating it. You're not one of them. You were never supposed to be. You're the glitch in their system, the unexpected variable, the ghost they tried to bury alive, and the god they accidentally summoned. They built entire narratives to feel superior to you. Little mythologies where you were the problem, where your voice was too sharp, your standards too high, your boundaries too aggressive. But you weren't being too anything. You were just finally becoming unreachable. That's the part they can't handle. You're no longer available for their cheap drama, their backhanded compliments, their just checking in texts that show up only when you start winning. You stopped auditioning, stopped explaining your worth to people who never even deserved a single paragraph of your time. You outgrew their version of you, that watered-down, digestible, PG-13 character they kept trying to cast you as in their boring little story. Because this version of you, this version breaks scripts, this version tears out pages, this version looks the director dead in the eye and demands a rewrite. You're not here to fit in. You're not here to be liked, to be understood, to be palatable. You're here to take up space like you were always meant to. You got tired of being punished for your passion, tired of pretending the fire didn't burn just because it made other people uncomfortable. Tired of showing up half alive just to keep dead energy company. Tired of tucking in your sharp edges while spineless people took up the whole room. You don't chase anymore. You attract without begging. You move with that calm, dangerous kind of power. The kind that makes people nervous, but they can't look away. Because something in them knows you're everything they were too scared to become. You walk different, not just because of confidence, but because of clarity. You see it all now. Every fake friend, every manipulative smile, every room where you were only welcome if you stayed dimmed. You remember how they reacted to your pain, with silence, with distance, with convenience. But now that you shine, they want front row seats. Funny how that works. You don't let them back in, because they weren't just absent. They were complicit. They watched you unravel and called it mood swings. They watched you beg for decency and called it drama. They saw your fire and labeled it too much. But they never had the range. They never had the depth. You were poetry in a room full of people who couldn't even read the title. And still, you stayed soft for so long, still tried to make it work, still believed if you just loved hard enough, gave enough, endured enough, they'd finally treat you like a human being. But that version of you, buried, next to every I'm sorry you never got, next to every time you said I'm fine, while screaming inside, next to the patience that only ever got you pain. What rose from that grave is something they were never prepared for, something primal, something poetic, something unfuckwithable. You became the silence after the explosion, still heavy, undeniable, not seeking vengeance, just embodying proof. Proof that suffering doesn't soften everyone. Sometimes it carves a throne. You've got your own back now. You've got your own name in lights, not on a stage, but in your mind, in your chest, in that place inside you that once felt hollow and is now filled with fire and unshakable knowing. You're not asking for space anymore. You are the earthquake. You shake entire realities without even trying anymore. You walk into spaces and energy rearranges itself like it's trying to survive your presence. People feel it. That invisible shift in the air, that quiet tension that says someone who's seen hell just walked in and didn't flinch. You don't speak louder, you just exist heavier. You carry that don't F with me calm, that unbothered danger that doesn't need to prove a thing. Because everyone who mattered already knows, and everyone who doubted already learned. You used to beg for understanding. Now you just watch. You watch them trip over their words when they realize they can't manipulate you anymore. You watch them scramble to adjust their tone when they feel the mirror you've become reflecting their fake back at them. You watch, not with anger, but with that detached smirk that says, I outgrew this entire circus. They used to study your reactions, now they study your silence. They don't know what you're thinking, and that's what scares them. The same people who said you were too emotional, too intense, too weird, too ambitious, they're the ones who scroll through your wins, pretending not to care while choking on envy. They used to mock your dreams like they were jokes, and you turned them into headlines. They used to call you dramatic, and you turned that drama into momentum. They used to roll their eyes, and you turned those same eyes into your audience. You stopped asking, why me? And started saying, try me. And every challenge that tried you, lost. You wake up different now. You don't drag yourself out of bed fighting ghosts anymore. You wake up with that slow grin that says somebody's getting humbled today. You move through the world like it's a test you already passed. Every insult they threw became a receipt. Every doubt they voiced became evidence. Every time they laughed behind your back, you built something while they wasted oxygen. You were never chasing revenge. You were collecting data. And the data said, you're unstoppable. The things that used to break you don't even reach you anymore. You're bulletproof in the places you used to bleed. The chaos that used to drain you now fuels you. The rejection that once made you question your worth became the validation you didn't know you needed. Every failure became fertilizer. You grew through the dirt. Every scar became a sentence in your manifesto. Every lonely night became training. You stopped seeing pain as punishment and started using it as equipment. You became your own weapon. They'll try to call it ego because they can't call it control. They'll whisper that you've changed like it's an insult because watching you evolve reminds them of how long they've stayed the same. They don't recognize you. And that's because you deleted the version of yourself that tolerated them. You don't do small talk with fake energy. You don't pretend to be calm when you're disrespected. You don't water down your truth for comfort. You don't shrink to be approachable. You walk through life like your spirit just filed for copyright. Untouchable, unmistakable, original as hell. You look at your reflection differently now. You see the exhaustion, the scars, the darkness, and you smirk. Because every line on your face is proof you survived what they couldn't even imagine. You see the hunger behind your eyes and realize you don't need permission anymore. You've outgrown waiting for signs. You've outgrown hoping they'll get it. You've outgrown needing them to clap for something they'll never understand. You've seen what happens when you stop apologizing, and it changed everything. There's a kind of freedom that comes after you've lost everything fake. A kind of peace that comes when your circle gets smaller but realer. A kind of power that comes when you finally realize you don't need to explain the fire. You are the fire. And they feel the heat even when you're silent. Even when you're not in the room, your name tastes different in their mouths. Like regret, like fear, like we fed up. You became the aftershock of everything they ignored. You don't need to scream anymore because your existence is the echo. Every step you take drips with the weight of 1,000 nights. They slept fine while you broke in the dark. You built yourself in silence while they performed for attention. You healed while bleeding, while they hid behind followers and filters. You were doing the real work, the ugly, painful, soul-ripping work, while they were curating a highlight reel of nothing. And now, their energy feels like a cheap imitation next to yours. Your presence makes them twitch because it exposes how fake their confidence really is. You don't walk with arrogance. You walk with evidence. Evidence of every battle you weren't supposed to survive. Evidence of every time you were underestimated, overextended, and still showed up with fire in your chest. You made peace with the fact that nobody was coming to save you. So you became your own damn army. You stopped looking for heroes. You became the threat. They told you to forgive and move on. They told you it's in the past. They told you don't hold grudges. But what they really meant was, forget how we treated you. They weren't uncomfortable with your growth. They were uncomfortable with your memory. You remember everything. The tones, the looks, the silence, the way they stood still when you were drowning, the way they made you feel like you were always one step away from being replaced, the way they only loved you when you were easy to control. You remember how your pain was too loud for them, but your success is suddenly too much, too. You remember how they called you unstable for having emotions, and cold for finally choosing boundaries. You were never the problem. You were just inconvenient to people who benefited from your suffering. You became dangerous the moment you realized your worth was never up for negotiation. You started walking differently once you understood that shrinking doesn't protect you. It erases you, and you're done being erased. You're done being the silent one. You're done playing it small to be tolerated by people who were never meant to sit at your table in the first place. You built your own table. With every cracked rib, every panic attack, every sob in the shower, every moment you wanted to give up but didn't. You didn't just survive. You leveled up in the dark and came back swinging like every apology they never gave you is now paid in full through your success. They talk about the old you like it was better, like it was sweeter, like it was easier to manipulate. But that version of you was dying quietly every day. That version was starving on breadcrumbs. That version was trading self-respect for attention and calling it love. You buried that version without flowers, without ceremony, just one last whisper. Thank you for surviving long enough to set me free. You've got war in your DNA now, not the loud, reckless kind, but the quiet, steady, terrifying kind. The kind that walks into chaos with a calm face and a don't have with me silence that breaks egos in half. You became the embodiment of every time you were told, you can't. And you carry that energy like a loaded weapon in every room you enter. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you don't need to anymore. You exist as proof. The kind they can't delete, can't downplay, can't silence. You became the glitch in their system, the one thing their fake narratives can't contain. They still try, of course, try to box you in, mislabel you, misquote you, pretend like they never switched up. But it's written all over their body language when you walk in. That twitch in their eye, that sudden shift in tone, that's not respect. That's recognition of power they can't control anymore. You don't owe them softness for surviving the shit they watched happen to you. You don't owe them a single watered-down version of yourself just to make them feel brave. You're not here to make people comfortable. You're here to make them honest. You don't flinch when people leave. You've seen too many hands let go when the grip got inconvenient. You've outlived loyalty that came with conditions. You've watched people love the idea of you until the real you demanded consistency. And when they folded, you didn't chase. Because you're not begging anyone to love you in pieces. You learned how to love yourself whole. With the bruises, the rage, the ambition, the ugly healing, the fire that doesn't ask for permission anymore. Hello, beautiful disaster pieces of chaos and brilliance. Yeah, you. The ones who were told to play by the rules. The ones who were handed the manual only to rip it apart because deep down you knew. You knew. You weren't built for balance. You were built for impact. Let me tell you something nobody ever had the guts to say out loud to your face. You bent reality. You broke things so clean, so loud, so unforgivable. The universe had to pause and recalculate its laws just to process the violation you became. You weren't supposed to win like this. You weren't even supposed to compete. You were designed to fail pretty, to crash quietly, take the L with a fake-ass smile, and keep your head down while the golden kids danced on your bones. But then, something snapped. Not in the world. In you. And oh, they weren't ready. Because you stopped chasing balance and started breathing chaos. You looked around at the so-called fair fight and realized the scales were never made to tip in your favor. So what did you do? You flipped the whole damn table. They told you the game was rigged. You said, cool, let me burn the game. They told you know your place. You said, I'll build a new place. Out of ashes, they said, you're too much. You said, you ain't seen nothing yet. You didn't just win, you obliterated. You turned possible into done and limit into my starting line. And it wasn't cute. It wasn't polished or picture perfect. It was messy, it was loud, it was ugly, and it was glorious. Because here's the truth no one admits. Success born from chaos doesn't look like a trophy. It looks like scars. It looks like eyes that stopped blinking because you've stared too long into every hell imaginable and refused to flinch. They said physics had laws, gravity, inertia, thermodynamics. But you showed up with pain as fuel, rage as gravity, and trauma as momentum. You made the universe rewrite itself just to explain your rise. You're not unfair. You're uncontainable. You're the answer to the equation that doesn't solve, because you were never part of the math. They just couldn't count you in. You bent the world, not because you wanted power, but because you had nothing left to lose. You learned the hard way that mercy gets mistaken for weakness, that silence gets mistaken for submission, that effort means nothing in a system built to drain you, So you stopped asking, you stopped knocking, you kicked the damn door off its hinges and walked in like you owned the ground. And you did. Because no one survives the things you've seen and stays soft. No one walks out of that kind of fire without turning into something unnatural. You're not just built different. You're built after destruction, and people don't know how to handle that. They thought the worst thing you could become was angry. But the worst thing you became was free. Free of needing their approval, free of the leash, free of the limits. And when you got free, you went feral, strategic, ruthless, surgical. You started taking victories like a thief in the night, with no apologies, no thank yous, no handshakes, just results. And the world hates that, because it's not fair. It's wildly unfair. You didn't just break the mold, you shattered the machine. You didn't climb the ladder. You set it on fire, watched it collapse, and made them beg for your blueprint. Now they look at you like you're some glitch in the matrix. But they don't know the price you paid. The nights you screamed into pillows. The mornings you dragged yourself out of bed on nothing but spite. The days you walked into rooms full of wolves with no armor, just audacity. You bled for this. You bled quietly, and now you shine loudly, and they can't stand it, because your rise didn't come with a smile. It came with teeth, because your win wasn't supposed to exist, and yet, here you are, because you made it, and everything had to suffer for you to get here. You're the proof that the system's a lie, that earn it doesn't mean anything if they never planned to let you have it. So you took it. You took it like a storm takes a city, like a plague takes a kingdom. And now they whisper, they panic, they wonder how to stop the next you. But they can't, because the next you is already watching, already learning, already loading. And the laws, forget them. You rewrote physics with your pain. You redefined logic with your fire. You broke everything, and from the rubble you built yourself. You didn't play fair, because fair was never real. Only survival was, and baby, you survived louder than anyone ever lived. Now they call it unfair. Damn right it is. It's wildly unfair, but so was every second of your suffering. So smile. Grin like the villain they swore you'd never become. Laugh like the laws don't apply, because they don't. Not anymore. And every time they try to piece together how you pulled it off, they come up short. Because they're still out here thinking it was luck. Thinking maybe you had some help. Thinking there's a trick, a shortcut, a cheat code. But there wasn't. It was just you. Raw, unfiltered, weaponized. You weren't built in some sterile lab of privilege. You were forged in discomfort, in silence, in rejection, so loud it echoed for years inside your own head. And you didn't run from it. You absorbed it. You became it. While they were clocking in, clocking out, measuring life by safe decisions and soft landings, you were out here throwing punches at the air, shadowboxing with depression, wrestling with guilt, slapping duct tape over wounds and calling it armor just to keep moving. You didn't come up with grace. You crawled up with grit. You weren't taught to win. You were taught to endure. And in that slow, brutal crawl toward your own name, you found something far more violent than victory. Transcendence. You became the version of you that doesn't need permission. The version that doesn't explain, doesn't apologize, doesn't hold back, just to make small people feel safe. And that's what makes you dangerous. Not your strength, not your talent, your freedom. You got unshackled, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You stopped looking for saviors and started burning bridges just to see who'd still try to follow. And now, Even when you walk into a room without saying a word, the whole vibe shifts. Not because you want attention, because you command it. Because energy like yours doesn't whisper, it roars in silence. They don't see the mental warfare you fought just to step outside without flinching. They don't see how you smiled through blood in your mouth, how you mastered stillness in chaos, how you sharpened your own mind like a blade because nobody was going to hand you protection. You are the result of every moment you should have quit and didn't. Every time you cried and wiped it away like it was nothing. Every time you failed and stood right back up while the world laughed. And you didn't rise pretty. You rose jagged, cracked, glowing from the fractures. They're uncomfortable now because you remind them of what's possible without excuses. Because when they look at you, they see every excuse they ever made dissolve. You weren't born lucky, you were born lethal. And when you finally realized that no one was coming to save you, that no one cared about your pain unless it was convenient, something in you switched. You stopped trying to be digestible. You stopped shrinking to fit into rooms not built for your size. You started moving like a storm with a grudge. And the wreckage you left? That's not collateral, that's proof. Proof that you survived without the crutches. Proof that you created impact without permission. Proof that when the odds were screaming, impossible, you made them eat their own words. You came through swinging, not because you had something to prove to them, but because you made a promise to yourself. And breaking that promise was never an option. They underestimated what survival turns into when it's ignored too long. They didn't factor in what happens when someone has been buried so deep they start sprouting roots underground. And by the time you rose, it was too late to contain you. You weren't just out, you were everywhere, in the algorithm, in their nightmares, in every whisper of, "Did you see what they did?" You became a movement in skin, a one-person rebellion in motion. And they're terrified because they know, deep down, they couldn't walk through what you did and still be breathing, let alone walking like you own time itself. You're not just surviving anymore. You're rewriting every law, unspoken or not, with every step. And reality keeps glitching, trying to keep up with your pace. You stopped waiting for green lights and started sprinting through red ones with your teeth clenched and your soul on fire. Because hesitation never did a damn thing for you, but keep you small. Every second you hesitated was a second they capitalized on your doubt. Every time you second-guessed yourself, they gained ground. Every pause, every "maybe I'm not ready," every little quiet breakdown behind closed doors, they ate off that. They fed off the version of you that questioned if you were enough. But that version, dead and buried. The version that rose, built off rage and rock bottom, wired with scars that feel like steel now, rebuilt not for peace but for precision. You stopped throwing soft punches. You started swinging with history behind your fists. You started carrying every no, every laugh, every "you're too much" in your bloodstream like fuel. You turned rejection into rhythm and rhythm into riot. And your presence, it's not noise, it's a signal, a warning shot in human form. People feel you before they see you, because you've got that energy, the kind that screams, "I've seen worse than you," and kept going. The kind that makes cowards nervous and power players nervous for different reasons. The kind that bends rules, not to cheat, but because rules can't keep up with evolution, and you evolved faster than anyone could track. They still don't get it. They think you got lucky. They think you found a hack. They think there was some trick to your glow-up, some step-by-step guide to your fire. But there is no manual for becoming a force of nature. You don't manufacture this kind of presence. You survive into it. You fall face first into the mud and come out with diamonds in your teeth. You get dragged through every flavor of betrayal, abandon your old name mid-battle, and walk out with something that can't be stolen anymore. You stopped chasing dreams and started becoming nightmares. You're what happens when someone gets tired of asking, tired of hoping, tired of knocking, and starts kicking in doors with a grin that doesn't ask for peace. They want to know your secret. It's pain. It's silence. It's showing up again and again when the only voice you hear says, "Give up." You kept showing up. That's the whole story. Not glamorous, not cute, just brutal. Over and over, through anxiety that gripped your lungs like a vice, through fear that tasted like acid every morning, through nights that felt like endings and mornings that felt like betrayals. You showed up until showing up became part of your DNA, until fear got bored of trying to stop you, until doubt realized it couldn't keep up with your recklessness. And the unfairness? You wear it like armor now. Because when they say it's unfair, what they really mean is, you weren't supposed to make it this far without breaking. What they really mean is, we don't like how unstoppable you look after we tried everything to ruin you. What they really mean is, you won the war we didn't even know we were in. You're not just defying odds anymore. You are the odd, walking proof that the game isn't over when you're down. The game is over when you decide you're not done yet. And when you rise like that, when you rise with smoke still on your skin and hell still echoing in your ears, and your eyes locked on nothing but what's next, that's when the universe starts backing up. That's when physics starts folding in on itself, trying to make sense of you. That's when people start whispering like your name is a warning, because you're not a story, you're a glitch in fate. And glitches don't follow the rules, they rewrite them, and every step you take leaves cracks in the floor, because you're not walking through life. You're stomping through timelines that were never meant to hold someone like you. You weren't supposed to survive the first betrayal, let alone the fifth. You weren't supposed to get up after they humiliated you, ghosted you, left you bleeding in spaces where you were the only one rooting for your name. You weren't supposed to come back louder after being silenced, smarter after being underestimated, colder after being played. But you did. You turned every breakdown into blueprint, every heartbreak into hardware, every scar into strategy. You didn't just learn how to fight back, you learned how to preempt the attack. You started walking into rooms like you owned every inch of oxygen, started staring down red flags like they were traffic cones, started smiling in chaos like it was your natural habitat. Because it is. Peace feels weird now. Silence feels suspicious. Comfort feels like a setup. Because you've been at war for so long that discomfort became your default setting. And instead of cracking under it, you optimized around it. You adapted. You thrived. You trained in the shadows where nobody clapped, where the wins didn't come with congratulations, where the losses echoed louder than your own voice. You became your own army. No therapist, no lifeline, no applause. Just raw persistence, blacked out nights of doubt, and that voice in your head whispering, "Not like this." Not yet. You outworked demons that had your face. You outlasted voices that sounded like people you used to love. You built immunity to betrayal by drinking poison straight and learning how to digest it with a grin. And they think they know your story. They think they can read your energy like it's on page 1 of some self-help book. They think because you're loud, you're angry, because you're cold, you're broken. They don't get that the fire in your chest didn't come from rage. It came from resurrection. You've been buried, in debt, in silence, in shame, in expectations you never agreed to, in trauma no one apologized for. You've had entire eras of your life where it felt like nobody was coming, and nobody did. But you kept moving, one slow, brutal, unsexy step at a time, dragging the weight of 100 disappointments and still keeping your head up just enough to see where the next punch might come from. Because that's what it takes. Not confidence, not motivation, not some cute quote on your phone wallpaper. It takes nerve. It takes delusion. It takes waking up with nothing and still daring to act like everything you want is already yours. You've been called crazy, dramatic, obsessive, toxic, because you refuse to sit still and accept scraps like they were gifts. Because you refuse to dim your light just to blend into the dullness around you. Because you refuse to ask for permission to breathe fire in spaces where everyone was choking on politeness. You didn't just become different. You became dangerous in a world that begs for obedience. You became the walking definition of what if they don't stay quiet, of what if they stop pretending, of what if the underdog bites back with teeth sharpened by every time they were told, "You can't." You carry that kind of weight now, that energy that doesn't ask, doesn't flinch, doesn't need a map, because you are the map. And people are either following your lead or getting lost in the dust you leave behind. You're not moving with direction anymore. You're moving with momentum. The kind that doesn't wait for green lights or second opinions. The kind that barrels through closed doors like they were made of tissue. The kind that doesn't explain itself because it doesn't owe anybody context. You've outgrown humble beginnings. You've outgrown fake modesty and quiet wins and playing the underdog role just to make people comfortable. You're not the underdog anymore. You're the storm they swore wouldn't make landfall, and the fear they carry when they hear your name. It's earned, because you didn't just survive. You came back fluent in pressure. You didn't just overcome. You rewired your instincts to hunt under fire. People look at you and see results. They don't see what it took to walk into every day carrying anxiety like a second skin, showing up in rooms where you were the joke, the target, the distraction, still standing tall, still keeping receipts, still plotting moves in silence while they wrote you off with smirks. They thought you were done every time you slipped, every time you paused, every time you fell off the grid to gather your shattered pieces in private. But every disappearance was a setup. Every "where'd they go?" was just the intro to your next unreasonable comeback. Because you don't return the same. You don't do reruns. You come back evolved, scarred, upgraded, with sharper boundaries and louder silence. You became too much because too little got you nowhere. You became cold because warmth kept getting mistaken for access. You became selfish because selflessness was draining you dry. And people don't like that version of you because it's efficient, it's lethal. It doesn't beg, it doesn't fold, it doesn't romanticize struggle anymore. This version of you doesn't cry for attention, it demands respect. This version isn't chasing anyone, it's attracting everything. This version burns bridges and builds kingdoms with the ashes. You learned how to weaponize your silence. You learned how to stop justifying your fire. You learned how to walk away without looking back, even when everything in you screamed to stay and prove a point. You don't prove points anymore. You just make moves, big ones, silent ones. Ones that don't need a caption or an audience because real power, it doesn't perform, it radiates. And you radiate the kind of energy people don't forget. even when they pretend they do. The kind that sits in their chest late at night like an echo they can't shake. The kind that rewrites conversations in their head for weeks. You are the unfinished sentence in every room you walk out of. The tension in their throat when they speak your name. The reminder that some people don't break. They reconstruct themselves into weapons. And you carry it all like it's weightless. Not because it is, but because you've carried heavier alone. You've carried heavier without flinching, without asking for help, without even expecting relief. You just adjusted your shoulders and kept moving like gravity was personal. Like the world was daring you to collapse, and you kept answering with silence and motion. You've mastered the art of smiling with gritted teeth, of showing up composed while chaos chews on your spine. You've said, "I'm good," so many times it turned into code for, "I'm on the edge, but don't count me out." You've been standing on cliffs with cracked knees and a full schedule, still choosing to dive instead of disappear. Because disappearing was never your move. You were never meant to fade. You were meant to disrupt. Every space you walk into adjusts itself, not because you're loud, but because your existence rearranges comfort zones. Because you come in carrying every version of yourself that refused to die, and people can feel that. They can feel the war behind your calm. They can sense the storms you swallowed just to sit still at the table. You don't enter conversations. You haunt them. You don't compete. You exist louder. You don't ask what the vibe is. You become the atmosphere. You turned your triggers into tools, turned your breakdowns into blueprints, turned every "you'll never make it" into background noise behind your every step. And those steps, they echo. Because you're not just walking forward, you're dragging entire legacies behind you, rewriting every curse they swore would bury your bloodline. You're not just healing, you're redeeming generations with your audacity to refuse survival and demand something more.